Ba da dua, ba dua. Oh, I'm on. Okay, so we are back with Jupiter in the 12th house. Oh boy. Oh boy. Like gets Jupiter's comfortable here, but maybe a little bit too comfortable. You know, this is where Jupiter likes to hide out and then, let other things in other places do its bidding, you know? And you can't quite tell where Jupiter's at. Jupiter is playing hide and go seek. Jupiter is playing hide and seek in the 12th house. And people with Jupiter in the 12th house, they can't quite put their finger on a direction they're supposed to go in. Because when you think of Jupiter, it doesn't necessarily have to think much because it takes information that's there and it gobbles it up and it forms it or reforms it into the sophistication, you know, and it just operates and it expands and it expands. But when you put Jupiter in a house, like a water house, like the 12th, yes, I know people say it's the house of limitations, but listen, go here, listen. I'm about to take you here. See, let me take you here. Like prison and jail. But you guys are aware of the fact that, yeah, you're locked into jail or prison, but your mind isn't. And I don't know about y'all, and I ain't trying to tell on myself, but I've known a couple people that have been in prison. Well, I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? I seen on TV in the movies. And you know how they always come out and they like Muslims or they done converted to like Buddhists or Christians or whatever. You know, I don't know, but some kind of way they go in there and they come out with a lot of information that they ain't learned on the outside. They learned on the inside. Okay? So keep in mind, your mind is not trapped. It's actually expanding because you're confined physically. But that actually takes and puts your focus onto other things, information wise. That is Jupiter in the 12th house. I see Jupiter in the 12th house as like expanding so much, not necessarily limited, expanding so much that it can't quite put its finger on any one thing. Everything like is watery, is slipping between its fingers, and it wants to take, and it wants to grab, and it wants to keep, and it wants to, have these expansive experiences. In the 12th house, it gets lost in those experiences. It spreads. Only thing is, it doesn't really know how to identify what is spreading within. And this is the problem with Jupiter in the 12th house. Because people with Jupiter in the 12th house, like, they have these interests that they don't really know that they have until some kind of way they accidentally stumble on it, or they don't really know that they're doing until someone else notices it and tells them. Or they plain old keep secret because they don't really feel like it's anything important. Maybe it's because they don't really know themselves. And the only way to really access that Jupiter in the 12th house is to get to know who you are. Maybe it was because one point in time in their life, someone could have told them, you know what, it's stupid. Like, the idea that you have is stupid. You wasting time on playing the piano is stupid. You're not going to really make any money. What do you mean, your imagination? Because Jupiter in the 12th house, they can have quite the imagination. Like, what do you mean, imagination? You better get out there and you better work, boy. We don't have no times for no imagination. Whatever it is, Jupiter just gets lost. And has to be found. The quickest way, like I said, is to know yourself. Because you know yourself, you know your talents, you know your hidden talents. I see Jupiter in the 12th house as those hidden talents. Those talents that people shy away from, that has them, or they just don't know that they have them because it's the house of illusion. Like, I have heard people say, sometimes depending on what you have in the 12th house, those people will be like delusion. They're delusional about what their talents are. They believe they can sing, but they can't really sing. I beg to differ. I believe that Jupiter in the first house or the second house or the fifth house, or it could be more stuck on talents that, or believing that they're doing something so talented that like they're mediocre in, or that's not, like they're sitting up here. Jupiter in the fifth house could be singing their heart out. And you can literally hear sounds that sounds like someone is like choking chickens or something. But I feel that Jupiter in the 12th house is not that they're disillusioned by what their talent is and they're exaggerating it to the point of no return. I feel like they don't really know that they have the talent. You see what I'm saying? They don't know. They stumble across it somehow, or they keep it hidden. Like, they can be that person that's drawing pictures for no reason. You know, just, I just draw in my spare time. You know, when I look at TV, I can't help but to draw. My pencil just moves. And then I got this work of art, this picture. Oh, this whole picture here, you know, and people are like, no. Like, you can do something with that. I feel like people with Jupiter in the 12th house need other people to point out a lot of their talents and tell them sometimes exactly what to do with them. Like, what do you mean you can take that picture? You can make a comic book. You could write a storybook for children. And see, the thing about Jupiter in the 12th house, I feel like Jupiter in the 12th house, they utilize, the reason why they hide or they run away or they shy away from that Jupiter aspect in the 12th house is because I feel like that Jupiter in the 12th house sometimes can come with a lot of trauma. You know, like, the reason why they started doing what they did, or they started doing the talent that they have in the first place, could have came from a place of hurt or pain or isolation, you know. And then in that place of pain or hurt or isolation, they birth that hidden talent or a natural gift, or they come across, they start utilizing it. It's almost like magic, but they don't really know that they're utilizing it. Now, this could cause them to go from a few different things because, see, they could be easily become intimidated by their talent. Or they could feel, oh, I'm going to be ignored. I'm going to be ignored for what I know how to do. And that's not true. You know? That's not true. Jupiter in a 12th house just has to allow itself to operate in whatever it is that Jupiter, like whatever planet Jupiter is in here. Like, they just have to let themselves just operate and expand. like really become consumed and almost taken over by what that 12th house Jupiter is trying to show them. It's taking them on uh, um, a little journey of expansion, moving past that particular pain or hurt or limitation that they feel like they have. They just have to let themselves to expand with it. Like, go ahead, get on that ship. You know, the 12 house of water. You ever seen a cruise? We don't get on a cruise ship to go take over and drive the boat. You get on a cruise ship and you're just like seeing where you're taking. Like, you get on the water. There's no, you're out in the middle of that ocean. You don't see no land. You don't, but you know that that's what you're going to come across. So you have to be willing to take that journey. You see what I'm saying? And in the midst of it, you're not looking for anything. You're just going on the journey. You're just going. And then as you go on that journey, then you see things start opening up doors, gifts, you know, your talents unfolding. And then a lot of people, the Jupiter in the 12th house, become well known for things that's hidden in their 12th house. Jupiter and Sagittarius in the 12th house. Actually a pretty good placement. You know, these people feel like when they say stuff, people are confused by what they say. Because you think about Sagittarius and you think about Jupiter. Sagittarius is like, can speak powerful words in a very sophisticated and wise manner. Okay. Jupiter and Sagittarius in the 12th house can feel like what they speak, nobody values it or it's not really important. However, it's because they don't really tap into it. Like, they don't really expand enough in it. You know, through not knowing what to say, things being blurry. They don't have a particular thing or of interest that they're talking about. They could be all over the place when they speak. They cannot finish what they're saying. And that water can really weigh down what it is that they're doing, or it can come off as confusing to other people. But once they find what they're about, what their life is about, what they stand for, what they want to speak up for, they can be very powerful, because you can see ministers here. You can see people that's overcame something in their life or had experiences that they had to see their way out or through, and they turn around and help other people. But you can also see people that's dealing in the occult, the spiritual aspect of things, the things of the unknown, and they can help other people connect to that. Okay, and you can also see people that have high imaginations that they need to use, and they can take what they've experienced, and they can take places of pain and limitation, and they can move other people through it, you know, with a lot of power, and they could be well known for this. But I really do feel like people with Jupiter in the 12th house, is very important for them to get to know who they are. So they're not all over the place with what it is that they're doing, you know, because sometimes they go through trial and error trying to figure that out. And sometimes it's something good about going through the trial and error at the same time for the ones that's already done that. Because what happens is it makes you that much more powerful when you do find yourself, and when you do find what that Jupiter represents for you. Because Jupiter in our chart is about our luck and our blessings, and you're not about to tell me that just because you have Jupiter in your 12th house, you don't have luck and you don't have blessings. Your luck and your blessings is magical, because people think you're limited, but you're not. People think you're stuck in that jail cell, but you're not. People with Jupiter in 12th house have the capability of going deep into hidden knowledge that others don't have access to, and people wonder, how do you have access to that? Because when you think about it, Jupiter represents knowledge. 12th house represents the ocean. Deep down in the ocean, we have hidden lands. Okay? With treasures. And you got fish, and you got other things that they have not even explored yet underneath the ocean. Hidden worlds. Okay. You got the potential to go there. So there's no telling what you're going to open out of your treasure chest. Jupiter in the 12th house, people keep pulling stuff out of nowhere, like talents, and you have multiple things that you can do. Okay. I gotta keep that in mind. So you, with Jupiter in 12th house, you find your blessings and you find your luck when you can allow yourself to expand past your limitations. The deeper you can go, the luckier you'll get. And another thing that Jupiter in the 12th house has, Jupiter in the 12th house has a very strong guardian force around them. Like you can have lots of experiences, lots of difficult experiences, and your spiritual team or your guides, your guardians is going to be there to like you can really have a personal connections with them where you're talking to them and you're expressing things to them and they're helping you out and they're guiding you along the way. It can be very strong. Okay, because we're talking about the spiritual world. Your Jupiter is there. Do I need to say anything else? So you better get comfortable with them and you ask them for help. You can directly talk to them. Some of y'all are afraid of them. Now, some of y'all might think I'm just doing talking, but no. I know I'm not. And I spent a little bit more time on Jupiter in the 12th house because, see, I got Jupiter in the 12th house. You know what I'm saying? So I know what I'm talking about. All right. So this has been Jupiter in the 12th house. I'm Butterfly to Light. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll be back.